Tonight, SEIPO is proud to be here in Albion, Idaho. We're at the former Idaho Normal School, the first major college here in Idaho. And although it looks like school might be out of session, rumor has it that there might be some people around here that still believe school is in session. And we're going to find out for you tonight. So tonight, join us here in Albion, Idaho as we investigate the original Idaho Normal School.
Okay, so the Albion Normal School opened in the late 1890s, and when the community here in Albion got together and built this one of the buildings out of stone, and the state of Idaho came over and opened it as a normal school, which is a teacher college. And it was open until around 1951 or 52, and at that time it closed down, and the Magic Valley Christian College came in, and they were here for approximately 10 years. And then they closed down, and since then the buildings have just been empty, with the exception of a lot of vandalism and people breaking in. So my husband and I purchased the campus 3 years ago, approximately, and we have since renovated Miller Hall, which is a men's dorm that was built in 1901, and we are now using it for group events, like family reunions, church retreats, youth group retreats type of a thing, corporate retreats. It's a beautiful building, and we have renovated that, and we use the grounds around here for them to play and swim and all the fun things that they do here. The other buildings we have just started on a little bit, but as of right now they're still empty, and as you can see behind us, they're boarded up. And
you know, when we drove up to Albion, the first thing I noticed was the setting. It's in an absolutely beautiful setting. I don't know how many buildings are there, maybe 5. 3-story brick buildings are beautiful buildings. But one of the first things I noticed was that the building we were going to investigate seemed to be a rookery. It was full of birds, and the peacocks that were outside, that concerned me for possible background noise because they're pretty noisy birds. But and I think there was also some kind of family reunion going on somewhere around there. So I was concerned about background noise, but the buildings themselves were just beautiful, and I was really excited to be able to investigate.
Driving over Albion, over the hill, was a great view. You are pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and then you come up over this hill, and there's amazing old buildings. We got there, and we sat up, and we did an initial walkthrough with everybody. It was kind of a creepy building due to a lot of graffiti on the walls.
The experience in Albion was quite a good one. We first started driving up together. We ended up getting there, and I started getting really excited about seeing these buildings out there, and I couldn't wait to get in. Same with Scott and John, Eric. We all kind of were like eager, like kids. And so we ended up rushing in there, taking in a few pieces of equipment, and then deciding to go into the basement.
We get inside, and the building is in a pretty serious state of disrepair. And I think I should have brought my desk mask, but so I think there were plaster lath buildings, and the plaster was pretty deteriorated, a lot of dust in the building. And my initial impression was I really didn't have any sensation that there was anything going on there. It seemed fairly comfortable. And then as we set up the different equipment and started investigating, things kind of started happening. It was real slow at first, and but it kind of ramped up towards the end of the night.
All right. Who else if I should take that one and do a walk around with it?
When we first got there, we did our initial walkthrough, and going through the basement down in the old kitchen area of the women's dormitory was interesting when Scott saw the apparition that he saw. But watching Scott jump not once but twice, seeing the exact same apparition that he saw in two different parts of the basement there, actually was the start for me of starting to feel creeped out in this building. As Scott flailed the second time around, he knocked the camera out of my hand.
As we arrived, we decided to do an initial walkthrough through the building right behind me, which was the old girls' dormitory. Already I had an experience. As we went into the basement, we were in the kitchen area. There's actually a big old mixer down there. But there was a door, and as I was walking real quickly, I saw a figure just kind of duck out of the doorway real quickly twice. It was a woman. She looked like she had kind of dirty blonde hair. It was curly and not real long. It seemed like it, you know, I couldn't see it real well, but I would imagine it just went to shoulder length. She had kind of a long face and kind of a long nose. Eyes, I would say they might be blue or green, but it was kind of hard. They looked kind of dark because it was dark down there. But again, she just looked kind of like this twice from the door jamb, and it startled me. It didn't frighten me, but it did startle me. Unfortunately, we didn't have any cameras with us, and I wish we had, just if not to record my reaction to what I saw.
When we first pulled up, it was still light outside, and the place takes on a whole new life at night. It doesn't look too ominous during the day, but when night falls on that place, it really comes alive. The setup when we were downstairs, I wish we would have had the camera, because it started before we even started setting up equipment. The thing that Scott seen, the woman, it scared us all just because of Scott's reaction, but it was kind of fun. We immediately started to chase it and couldn't see anything, and then when he seen it for a second time, you know, it felt like it was going to be a really fun night.
As we set up the DVR system down in that kitchen, we hadn't even hit record yet on our DVR system, and all of us guys, I think there was about 6 of us there, all saw the same woman go across or look out that doorway like she did the first time when Scott saw her.
My first experience was going down into the basement. Previously that day, Scott had seen an apparition down there on one of the screens, and so we were excited to be down there to see if we could feel or catch anything. The only experience I really had downstairs was the strong smell of paint in a certain room, and we even left the room, came back, and it was still there, and there was no evidence of any kind of fresh paint down there. While we were down there, the guys upstairs that were watching us saw something in the kitchen, and we went back. It wasn't real strong, but you could feel a little sense of activity in that room.
First place we went and investigated was the kitchen area, and it was Eric, Allison, Colleen, and I, and we went looking and trying to draw out the woman that Scott had seen and that we had seen earlier on that monitor, but nothing ever really happened down there. And so as we left from that kitchen, we went into this back room that's behind the kitchen. It looks like it must have been the old dining hall section of the dormitory. It got a radio message from John and Scott saying, "Brett, there's this, are you guys creating any light?" And there, as we caught it on the monitor and on the DVR system, of this light going across the room very steadily and just kind of blinking, creating its own light source. It wasn't reflecting off the IR because the light never changes. Just went straight across the kitchen. Go ahead.
We're getting some, I don't know, back in that room where you guys were at.
There's a bat.
We're getting like some flashing orbs. Look kind of strange.
Is it our light?
Back in the kitchen?
Yeah, that's it.
It's our lights, probably.
Yeah, that's what it's doing right now.
Oh, that's
Is it doing it where we're shining our lights in there right now?
No, it was like a piece of dust. I mean, I can see your light, but it was like a piece of dust. Like
Okay, let's go back there.
So what's he seeing?
Flashing orbs. All right, we're going back in the kitchen here. Hang on. We're heading back into the kitchen. John and Scott seem to see some kind of flashing orbs in the kitchen lights. In the kitchen where we just were.
Dead mouse.
What's the cords? Cords.
now back in the kitchen where got
Where
flashing orbs.
Where exactly were you seeing them? Okay, well, guess we'll hang out here a little bit longer.
Is there anybody in here with us tonight? We'd like to communicate with you.
It feels weirder in here than it does in the rooms.
Sorry, man. Over your shoulder.
Okay, fine.
We have a K2 meter. You could come close to it and it will light up and we'll know you're with us.
Make it easier for them so they don't think it's me. It's just reading the recorder. I just feel like, I don't know, I just have a weird feeling in here.
Shoot behind you real quick, that thermometer.
Right, which side, your left or right?
Left hand, right where my hand is.
Yeah, the right side of my body is a lot colder than the.
Okay, so I got a 70 where your hand was.
So shoot.
Now try down here.
62, but that could just be reading off the, 59. Went down to 59. It's hitting kind of like the cover behind you there.
Okay. We got a radio call from the group upstairs saying they may have seen something flashing on the cameras, so we had to try to get back into that area as soon as possible. There's a lot of obstacles in that place, including a door about knee-high that you've got to hurdle, and I just about lost it on that. Getting back in there, I didn't see anything initially. We covered the area the best we could as soon as we got back in there, but I personally did not end up seeing anything in there. I was very glad that we caught that orb on camera, even though we didn't see anything upon getting in there. My opinion of orbs is 99% of them can be dust or anything like that. The one I seen on the video, it didn't seem to have the same characteristics of dust. It was one that I couldn't write off and explain immediately, and so I have no idea what it might be.
Well, we've also had with the haunted house, we employ about 40 people here, actors, and we've had a few kids working down, in particular down in the basement of the auditorium. And this was a big, tough kid, 18-year-old, and he saw something supposedly in one of the tunnels and needed to work in a different location. He would not work back down there again. So, and then we've had a few in the gym the last night, Halloween night last year. A couple of kids came running out of there right as we were closing. All three of them were just running out of there yelling and screaming, and one of them was so excited, jumping up and down, "I finally saw something," and said the doors were slamming closed and a light turned off, and they swear they saw something up there. And
yeah, they said something walked across.
The two girls were scared to death, and the boy was just so excited.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I just seen a shadow in there. I'm trying to replicate. Yeah, that's a little TV. Right over there on that wall where my light is right now. I could have swore I seen a shadow when I poked through here, and I'm trying to duplicate it, and I'm sure not duplicating it. I hope the camera caught it. Huh, that was kind of weird. When the investigation first started, I couldn't get down into the basement fast enough. I've been to Albion on 2 different occasions before this, and it always seemed like it was most active in the basement. One of the photographs I had taken there when I was there at a different time, I wanted to reevaluate. I wanted to see if I could debunk it. It was an amazing picture, and it was some of the best paranormal evidence that I have ever seen in person in my life. Who has the still camera too?
Still camera?
Yeah, the still photographs?
Oh, that's mine.
Okay, because I mean, the way we caught that picture was just by walking by and snapping.
Just randomly, huh?
Yep, just random snapping.
My hand is too full. So this is the bunny room.
Okay, yep, this is the bunny room. And this is where I caught that picture right on that wall. Doesn't feel real cold in here though.
No, nothing on the wall that I could tell. With wolf's blood, I damn you. Is there anyone in here with us tonight?
Matter of fact, can we even run some experiments with one of us standing on the wall where it was from the doorway?
Absolutely.
We tried doing it before, tried to debunk it before to see if it was a shadow. It was not. Or, I mean, it wasn't one of our shadows.
Right.
I just heard something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
Scurry or a drag or a...
Was it? I just moved my...
No.
Okay.
It was here.
That is just a perfect shadow of her, though. Just stay right where you're at there. But you can still see it on the floor, too.
I'd like to talk to you. Can you come over to the meter with the green light?
I'm just trying to debunk my picture is all. I'm just using your shadow for it.
I'm not worried about that. It's fine.
But I can see your feet and everything and your legs on the floor.
Okay, where you at, Allison? I'm just going to take a shadow picture from the doorway. No real shadows down there.
What?
No shadows. Pretty.
Oh yeah, I mean that's not even close.
We had the problem with some of the experiences that we had is I did hear a few things, but I couldn't rule out whether or not it was background noise from outside. Some of it I don't believe to be, because it seemed like it was a lower voice. And I had a lot of feelings of the cobwebs. I felt like I was being touched quite a bit all throughout the building. And at the time, I didn't know. I'd look around to see if there was cobwebs because it is in such a state of disrepair. But I never did really see any cobwebs, so I don't know if that was activity. I don't know.
So we went into this bathroom. It had a couple stalls, of course, no toilets. It was kind of an L-shaped bathroom. Down towards where it took a right, I kind of felt really weird and strange and felt, I don't know, I guess goose pimply, I guess. I ended up feeling the same way that Teresa did. I don't know why I started feeling that way, but I ended up kind of turning around again and looking at Lisa, and she's kind of like, yeah, you feel that too, huh? And I nodded my head, yeah, like there's something around us. I feel like a presence. You know, it's kind of like when you have that sense like somebody's watching you and you're out on the street and you kind of turn around and no one's there. That was what I felt. We went through up and down that second floor and felt that somebody was kind of around us. And then after, I would say about 10-15 minutes of being up there, we ended up not feeling that way anymore, but we wanted to get down and start talking to the group about what we kind of felt and found out. It was very strange to be able to feel that for my first time, and kind of got really interested in what was going on. And you know, I wanted to find out more what the other people in the group were doing and feeling.
Being at Albion at the old normal school was a great experience, and being able to talk to the owners and hearing the story about how they felt like they were supposed to buy the property and they were supposed to move there to Albion to purchase that old school property really made it interesting enough. And then the experiences that everyone had throughout the night, and there's not one of us that didn't experience something, just really capped off what I would call one of my favorite investigations.
My final impressions of Albion are that the buildings are incredible. It's like being on a Hollywood movie set. They just have a creepy feel to them. And the walls are covered with graffiti. You just expect Freddy Krueger to jump out at any corner. The Albion Normal School has to be one of the most haunted locations in Idaho. It's got great history, and there was so much activity that we caught that one night. There was a lot of activity that we all experienced and caught on our cameras. I would really like to go back and do more investigations and expand it to some of the other buildings. I really think that most of what we caught there was friendly, and I don't really think there's anything to fear. Most of all, I really felt like maybe the entities that we came in contact with were just as curious about us as we were about them.
When we first started renovating the campus, we had a number of employees, and it's great to scare people. I mean, that's a fabulous time for, you know, to scare somebody really good. And I had some employees that were over here in the gym, and they were going to reach out and just as somebody was coming down the stairs, they were standing up against the edge of the stairs. They were going to reach out and grab their leg. And there, it's a solid, you know, just like stairs are. You got a solid wall. You kind of reach out, we kind of look up behind, and you could reach out and grab somebody. But as he was in there, his name was Jesse, but he said that as he was getting ready to do this, the joke got played on him. It wasn't one of the guys, but somebody reached through the wall, grabbed his shoulder, and kind of gave him a little tug back, and he, you know, scared him really bad. He turned back around to look. Of course, it's a solid wall. course, he jetted out of there, and needless to say, that employee wouldn't go back into any of the buildings unless somebody was with him, and only in the building that we were renovating at the time. So that was pretty funny. We also had another employee that was doing excavation work, and he happened to look up into the upper window of Miller Hall and saw a young lady standing in the window up there, and told us about how that was really eerie. So he shut all of his equipment down, and he was the only one there. So we got in his vehicle, and then he was out of there. He didn't want to spend any more time here.